I'm Orion Grendon. I'm 55, a widower for almost 10 years, and I run a restaurant chain in Houston. 14 locations open, 2 more on the way. I've always been the steady type. Methodical, a bit reserved, maybe even too careful. After my wife died, raising my son, Cassian, alone became the hardest and proudest thing I've ever done. Cassian's 28 now, almost finished with law school at the University of Houston. Supposed to graduate in May 2025. Then came Thalia Sinclair. We met in February 2023. She was 38, planned events for a living, elegant, sharp, always knew what to say. For a while, I thought I'd finally found some peace. She had a way of making everyone feel comfortable, including Cassian. We got engaged in December 2024, after nearly 2 years together, and set our wedding for June 7th, 2025. By early 2025, all the big stuff was done. Guest list set. Rings ordered. Vendors booked. I really thought I was building something. A new family, a new start. But turns out it was all just a well-staged act. It started with a letter. No signature, just a single sheet left on my office desk in late April 2025. 3 sentences. Open your eyes. Not everything is love. Sometimes it's just control in disguise. At first I shrugged it off. But then I started seeing things. Tension, secret looks between Thalia and Cassian, hands brushing, both of them acting a little too careful not to be seen together. Cassian started dodging me. My business instincts, the ones that always kept me one step ahead, suddenly kept me up at night. Thalia played the perfect partner, thoughtful, organized, always present. Cassian grew colder, but he kept up the act of being the dutiful son. From the outside, we looked like a modern family, picture perfect. What no one saw was the ugly truth underneath. Thalia called it natural affinity. With Cassian, I called it something else, betrayal. I'd catch her sneaking down to the guest bedroom wing after midnight. Cassian started locking his phone, changing passwords, making up last-minute trips to study. Little things, but they added up. I know how to spot patterns. So instead of confronting them, I paid attention, watched, waited. In early May, I hired a private investigator. Discreet, professional, no ties to anyone I knew. He set up legal surveillance at one of my properties outside Houston, cross-checked call logs, tracked locations. After just 12 days, I had my answer. Thalia and Cassian were meeting at motels, slipping away on trips she claimed were for clearing her head. Worst of all, I learned it started before we even got engaged. Thalia wasn't in it for love. She used me as a cover for her own comfort, while she strung Cassian along with promises and emotional games. She shared my bed and planned to stand beside me at the altar, vowing forever. I read that report 3 times. Each time my anger cooled, turned sharp and clear. I wouldn't scream. I wouldn't cry. I'd document everything. I'd wait. I'd pick the moment to reveal the truth, publicly, undeniably. Not for revenge. For justice, the rehearsal dinner was set for Friday, June 6th, the wedding, Saturday, June 7th. 200 guests. Both families, friends, business partners. The venue was one of the best hotels in Houston, with a ballroom Thalia picked and decorated herself. Fitting really, since everything was about to come undone right there. I arrived early. Thalia looked stunning in a cream dress, greeting guests with that smile I used to love. Cassian hovered by the bar, whiskey in hand, stiff in his suit. They hadn't talked yet, at least not in front of anyone. The room filled up. Thalia's family from Dallas, my business associates, Cassian's law school buddies, the bridal party, everyone ready to celebrate, clueless about what was coming. Dinner started at 7. Prime rib, roasted veggies, Caesar salad. Thalia planned every detail, even the wines. The dinner alone ran close to $12,000, not counting the bar. I ate slow, watching. Cassian barely touched his plate. Thalia's laughter rang out too loud at her sister's stories. The tension hung thick between them. At 8:15, after dessert, the toasts began. Thalia's maid of honor talked about friendship and new beginnings. My business partner toasted to second chances and happiness. Glasses went up. Everyone smiled, pretending everything was fine. I stood steady, feeling the heat of 100 eyes. "Thank you for being here tonight," I said. My voice was louder than I expected, cutting straight through the small talk. "Before we go on, I need to share something with you. Something important." Thalia's smile froze like she was holding her breath. Cassian gripped his glass so hard his knuckles turned white. Could someone dim the lights? I asked. The hotel staff moved quickly. The big projection screen behind me flickered on. I'd spent a week getting that presentation ready. No drama, no shouting, just the facts. Dates, texts, proof. The title slide popped up. Truth before the vows. The noise faded. First slide, a WhatsApp exchange, timestamps, Cassian's number. Thalia's replies. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. He's working late again. Room 314, same place. Someone in the crowd made a choking sound. I moved to the next slide. Motel receipts. 4 places. All close to Houston. All charged to a credit card I'd never seen. But the investigator tracked it. Thalia's name, Cassian, listed as a secondary cardholder. I didn't look at them. I just kept my eyes on the screen. Next, call logs. Dozens and dozens of calls, always late, always long. 30, 40 minutes at a time. The records didn't lie. And neither did the GPS data. Both of their phones showing up at the same spots over and over for 7 months. Orion, please. Thalia's voice broke the silence. She was standing now, sheet white. This isn't what it looks like. I clicked to the next slide. Photos, not graphic, but no one could pretend anymore. Cassian's car parked outside a Galveston motel. Thalia walking in, timestamp. 2 hours later, both of them leaving. Another photo. Another motel. Same routine. Dad, let me explain. Cassian's voice cracked. I didn't stop. Next, bank transfers. $5,000 from my business account to Thalia's. Then $2,000 from her to Cassian. Every detail tracked. My money funding their affair, their hotels, their lies. The only sound left was the faint click of the slides. Guests stared, hands over mouths, or just looked away. Thalia's mother was crying quietly. The last slide, the investigator's summary. Professional, thorough, notarized. It spelled it out. Thalia Sinclair and Cassian Gren. A 7-month affair, starting in late 2024 and running the whole time I'd been engaged to Thalia. I let that slide hang there. Then I turned to the room. I hired a licensed private investigator 3 weeks ago, I said, keeping my voice calm. Everything you've seen is documented, verified, and legally obtained. I wanted you to know the truth before I made a promise I'd never be able to keep, to someone who already broke every promise that matters. Thalia tried to speak again, but someone else cut in. I wrote the letter. The whole room turned. Lenore Hayes stood, trembling but sure. She used to be Thalia's closest friend. I wrote the anonymous letter Orion got, Lenore said, because I saw them together in Austin. When I confronted Thalia, she laughed, told me Orion was just her meal ticket. Cassian was the fun. She wanted both, the money and the excitement. Thalia's face was burning now. You're lying. You're just jealous because... Because what? Lenore snapped. Because I have a conscience? Because I couldn't just sit back and watch you ruin someone good? The room exploded. Everyone talking at once. Thalia's family demanding answers. My business partners glaring at Cassian. Bridesmaids inching away from Thalia, like betrayal might be catching. I just stood there, weirdly calm. No yelling. No violence. Just the truth laid bare. Cassian left first, shoving his way through the crowd. Thalia tried to follow, but her sister blocked her. Don't you dare, her sister hissed. Don't you dare go after him now. The hotel manager came over, quiet and polite. Sir, what should we do about tomorrow's wedding? Cancel everything, I told him. Send the final bills to Ms. Sinclair. He nodded, disappeared. By 9, the ballroom was almost empty. A few friends hung back, making sure I was okay. I told them I was better than okay. For the first time in months, I could actually breathe. No more pretending. No more lies pressing on my chest. The next few days blurred by, canceling plans, returning gifts, starting over. But honestly, I felt lighter than I had in a long, long time. Everything about the wedding, venue, flowers, catering, fell apart just as fast as it came together. Thalia's event planning company rushed out a statement, practically tripping over themselves to cut ties. Her business partner, who'd stood beside her as a bridesmaid and seen it all, ended things within 2 days. After that, nobody wanted to work with Thalia. She was radioactive. Cassian stopped answering my calls. Not that I was holding my breath. He'd packed up, left his place by the University of Houston, and was crashing with a friend on the other side of town. Word got around that the law firm where he'd been interning yanked their job offer, quietly and without fuss. Houston's a big city, but in professional circles, people talk. Reputation is everything. I spent that weekend at my ranch house about 90 miles out near Brenham. Bought the place years ago, back when I still needed an escape from the restaurant grind. 200 acres, a plain house, and nothing but quiet. That quiet mattered. Not so I could wallow or grieve. I'd done that already right after I read the investigator's report. I needed space to think, to figure out what came next. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Friends checked in. Business partners offered support. Even a couple of journalists sniffed around for a statement. I ignored almost everyone. The story was already out there. No point in rehashing it. Monday, I went back to work. The managers kept everything running, just like I'd trained them to. That's the payoff when you build solid systems instead of making everyone depend on you. The business didn't need me watching over every detail. It needed me steering the ship. I was ready for that again. Margaret, my assistant, she's been with me 12 years, could tell something was off before I even hired the investigator. When I walked in, she asked, "How are you holding up?" "Better than I expected," I said. "What's next?" She told me the Austin expansion team was meeting with me at 10. Permits for the new spot had finally come through, and they wanted my sign-off on the final design. Business as usual. That's what I needed, something to move toward. Not just sitting there picking at old wounds. The next few weeks I threw myself into the Austin project. 1,500 square feet downtown near the university. Rent was $4,500 a month, which was fair for that area. We were aiming at young professionals and students. Good food, decent prices. I'd done it before and I knew how to make it work. Thalia tried to reach me twice. First through her lawyer, claiming I'd ruined her reputation and owed her for lost business. My attorney sent back the investigator's report and a reminder that truth is a solid defense against defamation. She dropped the whole thing. The second time was a handwritten letter. I didn't get past the first paragraph. "Dear Orion, I know you're hurt, but you have to understand the pressure I was under." I ripped it up. I wasn't looking for understanding. I needed closure. Cassian was trickier. Part of me wanted to reach out. He was still my son. But after what he did, I couldn't find the words. What do you even say to someone who sleeps with your fiancé? What's the conversation that could possibly fix that? I decided I'd wait. If he wanted forgiveness, he'd have to ask for it. If he wanted to explain, he'd have to say something. I wasn't going to chase him. I'd chased enough lies. Then in August, 2 months after that disastrous rehearsal dinner, Lenore Hayes called my office and asked to meet. I was curious, so I agreed. We met at one of my quieter restaurants in the Heights, away from the downtown mess. She came in right on time, professional, tired, but composed. "Thank you for seeing me," she said as we sat down. "You did me a favor," I told her. "I should be thanking you." She shook her head. "I should have told you sooner. I knew about them for weeks before I sent that letter. I didn't know how to say it. Thought maybe I'd misread things. But she hadn't. She knew it and I knew it. When I finally confronted Thalia, she didn't even deny it," Lenore said, voice low. "Just laughed. Told me to mind my own business." That's when I knew I had to say something. I ordered us coffee. The place was almost empty, too early for the lunch rush. Lenore sighed. "Thalia's threatening to sue me now." Defamation again. "Got a letter from her lawyer last week saying I ruined her reputation with lies." "They won't win," I said. Everything I said at the dinner was true. "I've got the documents to prove it." "I know." My lawyer said the same thing. "But it's still stressful. Expensive, too. Legal bills pile up fast." I could see what she wasn't quite asking. "Send me your lawyer's contact info." I told her I'd take care of your legal bills. You stood up for the truth when it would have been easier to just keep quiet. That matters. You deserve support. Relief swept across her face. "Thank you." "I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything. Just promise me one thing." "What's that?" "If you ever see something like this again, someone you care about being lied to, don't wait. Speak up. The sooner the truth comes out, the less damage it does." She nodded, tears shining in her eyes. "I promise." We finished our coffee and talked about lighter stuff. She was thinking of changing careers, Maybe shifting from event planning into nonprofit work. Fresh start, new direction. I got it. I've felt that urge myself. September rolled around with the grand opening of the Austin location, my 15th restaurant. It blew past my projections. Lines out the door all week, people buzzing online, local food bloggers raving. The expansion was working. I brought on a young business consultant, David Torres, 29, MBA from Rice, sharp and ambitious. Reminded me a lot of myself at that age. Hungry but honest, driven but with a moral compass. One day in a strategy meeting, he asked, "Why did you get into the restaurant business?" "Because food brings people together," I told him. "It's one of those rare things everyone shares. We all eat, we all have favorite meals, memories tied to food. I wanted to help create those memories." He glanced at the financial reports on my desk. "And you've done it. 15 locations, steady profits, a real brand. That's impressive." "I've built something stable," I corrected him. "Impressive is just an opinion. Stable is real," he grinned. "That's a good way to look at it." "It's the only thing that lasts," I said. "Flash and hype burn out. Substance sticks around." I thought about Thalia as I said it. She'd been all flash. Beautiful on the surface, empty underneath. Cassian fell for it. Hell, so did I for a while. But I was old enough to see through it once I really looked. By October, 4 months had passed since the rehearsal dinner back in June. The scandal had faded. People moved on, chasing fresher gossip. I was grateful for the quiet, honestly. I was going through quarterly reports when Margaret buzzed my office. "Orion, your son is here to see you." I froze, pen hovering over the spreadsheet. 4 months of silence and now this. "Send him in," I said. Cassian walked in slowly. He looked thinner, suit rumpled, tie crooked. The polished law student I remembered was gone. Instead, he looked lost. I felt that same cold weight in my gut I'd felt reading the investigator's report, but I kept my face blank. "Hi, Dad," he said quietly. "Cassian." I motioned to the chair across from me. "Sit down." He sat, hands folded, staring at the floor. We stayed silent for a long time. "I'm not here to make excuses," he said at last. "There aren't any. What I did was inexcusable, probably unforgivable. But I want you to know I get that now." "Get what exactly?" I kept my voice even. "That I wrecked everything, your trust, our relationship, my own future. For something that was never real." "Thalia." He nodded when I said her name. "She got in touch first. Started asking questions about you, your business, your finances. At first I thought she just wanted to bond, get to know her future stepson. But then it shifted. She'd text me late at night, ask me to meet for coffee, tell me I was mature for my age, that she could talk to me in ways she couldn't talk to you. And you believed her." "I wanted to believe her," he admitted, finally looking up. "I was stupid and arrogant. Thought I was special, that she really saw me. It wasn't until after the rehearsal dinner, when she called screaming that I'd ruined her life, that I realized the truth. I was never the point. You were. Your money, your status, your business. I was just a distraction, someone she could use to feel powerful." I leaned back, studying him. He looked sincere, maybe even broken. "But 6 months of betrayal doesn't just vanish because you say sorry. What do you want from me, Cassian?" "Nothing," he replied. "I don't deserve anything. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry. And I'm getting help. Therapy. Trying to figure out why I was so easy to manipulate. Why I threw everything away for something so empty. Where are you living?" "Corpus Christi. Got a job at a small firm there, entry level, nothing fancy. Making about 68 grand a year, but it's a start. Chance to rebuild, away from Houston. I tried to stay far away from everyone who knew what I'd done, and I haven't talked to her since that night. She kept calling for a while, but I blocked her number. Heard she moved out to California, probably hoping to start fresh where nobody knows her story. I just nodded. Part of me wanted to hang on to the anger, tell him to get out and never come back. But then there's the other side of me, the one that raised him alone, taught him to ride a bike, helped with homework, cheered for every little thing he accomplished. That part couldn't just shut the door completely. "I'm not ready to forgive you," I told him. "Honestly, I don't know if I ever will. What you did, it cut deeper than anything I've dealt with. But I appreciate you coming here and owning up to it. That takes guts." "It's the least I could do," he said. "Keep going to therapy. Keep at it, build something real. Maybe someday we'll have a conversation that doesn't feel like walking barefoot on broken glass. But that's not today. He got up to leave, nodding. I understand. Thanks for seeing me. Cassian, I called out as he reached the door. He turned. If you're ever in real trouble, not the kind you made yourself, but the kind where you're truly lost, you can still call me. I'm angry, but I'm still your father. Don't forget that. His eyes filled up. Thank you, he whispered and walked out. After he left, I just sat there in my office, staring at nothing for a long time. The conversation drained something out of me, but it cleared something too. The door's not wide open, but it's not locked forever either. That's enough for now. In November, I got the email. Thalia's lawsuit against Lenore was dismissed with prejudice. The judge reviewed everything and saw right through the defamation claim. Thalia had to pay Lenore's legal fees, which I'd been covering, plus court costs, almost $18,000 in all. I called Lenore to share the news. She was over the moon. Justice, she said. Real justice. I didn't think it actually happened. Truth has weight, I told her. In the end, it puts everything where it belongs. That line stuck with me after that. Truth has weight. I even found myself repeating it to David Torres during business meetings with Margaret, and to the young entrepreneurs who started coming to me for advice after the whole thing with Thalia. People wanted to know how I kept my cool, how I documented everything, how I got the truth out there without ruining myself or my business. Honestly, it just came down to experience, patience, and knowing the difference between revenge and justice. Revenge is quick, emotional, a sugar rush that fades fast and leaves you emptier. Justice is steady, permanent, built on facts that don't just disappear. By late October 2025, I was wrapping up plans for my 16th restaurant. Business was booming. I'd started mentoring young business owners through a local program, teaching them about more than just profit and market trends, about integrity, about building something that survives the storms. I dated once in a while, but nothing deep. I wasn't ready to trust like that again. Maybe I never would, and that's fine. I had my work, my restaurants, this growing group of mentees who reminded me every day that good people are still out there. One night in early November 2025, about 7 months after that first anonymous letter, I came home to a package on my doorstep. No return address. Inside, a book of essays about resilience and recovery and a note. Dad, I'm 6 months into therapy and working on myself every day. This book did something for me. Thought maybe it could do something for you too. You don't have to say anything back. I just wanted you to know I'm still trying. Still hoping I can be someone you'd be proud of again, someday. Tonight I left the book sitting on my coffee table and made myself dinner. Grilled salmon, roasted asparagus, a glass of white wine. Nothing fancy, just good ingredients cooked right. Sometimes that's all life really needs. After I ate, I wandered out to the back porch and just stared at the Houston skyline. That city, where I built everything, lost it all, then built it again. You know, the rehearsal dinner was supposed to be my new beginning, but it ended up closing a chapter I'm honestly glad to be done with. Funny thing, the same presentation that took them down. Thalia, without even knowing it, taught me how to create it. All those event planning lessons, making stories out of visuals, timing everything just right, making moments people remember forever. I took everything she taught me and used it for the truth. That irony still gets a smile out of me. That's what really mattered in the end. Not humiliating anyone, not tearing them apart, just standing there with the facts, calm and steady, letting their own actions do the talking. I sat back while the wind picked up, and the smell of jasmine from next door drifted over. Somewhere a dog barked. Life kept rolling along, not caring about old drama, just pushing forward into the next moment, and there, alone on my porch with a good meal behind me and a clear sky overhead, I felt something I hadn't touched in 7 months, real peace. Not the shaky peace that comes from ignoring things, or the fake kind you get from denial. This was solid, the kind you earn by getting through the worst of it and coming out stronger. Maybe that's what truth is really for. Not to burn it all down, not to get revenge, but to rebuild, to set things straight. To find balance again. Thanks for listening to my story. If it meant something to you, hit like or drop a comment. And if you want more, go ahead and subscribe and turn on notifications. You'll get every new story as soon as it's out. Seriously, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.